It's time to down tools for a bit. Welcome to the ToolShed, the influential podcast for anyone and everyone involved in the building industry. Here's your host, Mick Hawes.
Hey folks, welcome to yet another ToolShed podcast. In this episode, we're talking all things video with Luke Canham from Multiply Me. Luke's been on the podcast before. He's got a great business that really does support all of the trades businesses with video. Saves a lot of money, saves a lot of time, saves a lot of mistakes. Looking forward to catching up. Just before we get into that conversation, I want to remind you about the Builder Scorecard. There's a link in the description. All you need to do is click that and you can fill out a couple of questions or answers to questions. In 90 seconds, you're going to be able to know what the main roadblock problem is for your business and its success. And once you identify it, you'll be able to fix it, and a whole raft of other problems will disappear quite quickly. It takes 90 seconds. You'll have a report in your inbox within a few minutes after you've done that assessment, done the scorecard, and you'll get some really, really cool information that can help you move your business forward in a much more rapid fashion. So jump into that and get that scorecard done. I'd like to introduce Luke. Luke, it's great to have you back on the podcast. I think it's been over a year since we had a chat about Multiply Me and your story and what's going on, and I'm really looking forward to catching up. So for the people that haven't been introduced to Multiply Me and you, the Luke man, give us a bit of a backstory again, just how you got involved in video and in particularly with training video for all of the trades.
Thanks, Mick. Thanks for having me. So the backstory there is actually I was been in construction for all of my life, so 25 years, construction, scaffolding, even manufacturing. And I exited those businesses and then I actually went into coaching, and I was coaching another scaffold company owner. And he had a particular problem that he needed to solve. It was actually a near miss that kept happening. And he was going to pull the team in, have a meeting, get everyone to sign a toolbox talk and then get everyone back out in the field. But while I was coaching him, I said, look, why don't we try a different way? That's what everyone's been doing forever. Why don't we make a video? We'll go back to where this near miss happened. We'll make a video of what actually happened and then share that to the team so there's more impact and just get them to sign off digitally. Now, we actually did that on a very simple platform. We just used WhatsApp. And the response to that, everyone said, hey, can we get urgent updates or toolbox talks like this more often? And from there, obviously, Multiply Me grew, and there's been 3 years under the bridge since then. But it was really just to get information to remote teams faster in a medium that they understand.
Yeah. And before we press the go button, you were mentioning like the trend has in the last number of years has been heading towards sort of more short, sharp communications with video, particularly on all of the social media platforms. So it's kind of how the majority of people want to get their information. And I just want you to tell me about your experience, what you've seen when people can get information, whether it be training information, safety information, whatever it might be, delivered to them in a package that's kind of easy and enjoyable and quick to consume versus standing there, in a meeting for an hour to get that information.
Yeah, one of the key words that you were just talking about then was delivering the information shorter, sharper. But the word is familiar.
Right.
When it comes through in shorter, sharper videos, it's kind of like a social media feed where guys are picking up, daily knowledge bombs as opposed to sitting through lengthy meetings. So I think the word familiar, if you make the training familiar to a social media account, it's going to get more engagement because people just feel more comfortable there. Does that make sense?
Yeah, totally. Yeah. And that's obviously of benefit for the consumer. When I mean the consumer, like the team member having to get that information. Yeah. But give us an idea of the time saving, perhaps even the emotional energy drain of having to repeat the same thing multiple times, whether it's to the same person or for different people, for the leader, the boss of the organisation. What's the difference between having to say that over and over live and having people being able to watch a video?
Two probably major differences. One is when we talk to businesses and they all say, yep, we have a toolbox talk system in place. When you actually look at the register, if they say it happens monthly, it sometimes happens every 6 weeks or 8 weeks. So by turning them into video and being able to share them regularly, you can create a nice rhythm of content. So that's just a huge benefit in itself. You're getting more communication to where it needs to go without human, bringing everyone together. So I guess that's just the ease of it. But the time saving, the reason that meetings don't happen regularly is because people are pushed for time. So, let me ask you, Mick, you've been in the game a long time, like getting the team together from every site and putting them in a room is pretty difficult, right?
Yeah. You can do it these days through your Zooms and your Google Meets and all of that sort of stuff. But I think that from my perspective, and I love your perspective on it, that I think there's a little bit more effectiveness, and you can get stuff done in a more rapid fashion when people can access the information in their own time and probably in their own space, rather than having to wait for a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month before you can actually get all of the planets to align and get everybody into a room at once.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, being able to have that flexibility is a huge one. And we probably need to talk about, there's two sides of the videos. Like, one is going to solve repetitive, like frustration type of messages. Let's say, I'll give you an example. I'm from scaffolding. We know a lot of scaffold companies are always harping on about everyone use your hard hats. Now, should that be a supervisor's job to ask the staff every day to put on their hard hats? I don't really think it should be. Like, it should just be the way things are done. But if the company's not communicating that and recording that they've communicated it, if something went wrong, there's obviously a gap in compliance. So it's the company's responsibility. So you can solve those frustration, repetitive reminders that I've heard someone say, Luke, it's actually soul destroying. So we're not just talking about something that's, a nice to have. We're talking about something that's just destroying somebody's soul, where they might be a manager and they're just going over and over. Like, I've had that conversation multiple times, Mick, where people are actually in pain saying, I do never want to explain this again, but I know I'm going to tomorrow.
Yeah. So with Multiply Me, the process, I'm just thinking at the moment, because somebody the other day sort of mentioned to me that I was a bit verbose, and I thought, look, how dare they? Meaning that I ramble on and use too many words to get the point across. And I would imagine that happens with a boss or a supervisor or whatever, trying to explain things over and over and what have you. Some people might be a bit lengthy. Do you have a process to be able to make a video succinct? Is it an editing thing? Is it a scripting thing? Is it a prompting thing? How do you get the message across so it's got everything it needs to have, but it doesn't waffle on like I sometimes do?
I think that's actually a perfect example of having a meeting or a Zoom meeting and putting everyone in the room, because the person presenting starts to feel like they just need to talk.
Yeah.
And unless, a lot of supervisors, a lot of people that are holding the toolbox talks, they're not teachers. They haven't been taught how to structure these things. So they do get up there. Some people are very nervous. Some people are not very good at it. So the message isn't going to land anyway. And for the ones that are good at it, possibly they can go on a little bit too long. A guy I spoke to yesterday, he said, I used to work in the mines, and he said we had a toolbox talk. He said one of them was held on a Friday afternoon. He said, God, I don't know why, because none of us listened. and I thought, well, isn't that the biggest waste of time and resources? If your team is coming to these meetings with the mindset of, why am I here? I should be somewhere else.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the amount of time and effort and money wasted with ineffective meetings. I mean, don't get me started. That's kind of how I started in the whole coaching space over 35 years ago, was just teaching people time management. Part of that was meetings and how to hold an effective meeting. And I'm going to say there wasn't any digital video back then, but it might have been digital video tape.
Yes.
And the camera was like this big. So just on that, the equipment that people use and the process that you use in Multiply Me, let us know how that works. And I also want to sort of understand how you get people to be calm or relaxed or whatever if they have to be the talking head. Run us through all of that, like the equipment that you need and how to make it, reasonably good quality and get people comfortable and confident when they're on the camera.
Yep. So I'll explain this one in full detail, because when we started Multiply Me, we were offering coaching and support to companies to get them to be better on camera. And I'll be very honest, what we found is that the time that took finding the right person in the business, and then that person being comfortable enough to make a video, and then them being worried what their peers were going to think of them, or like their staff, that was met with a lot of complications. Very few companies actually succeeded in placing that person or finding that person in the ranks and then producing videos, every week. Now, what we've gone is from that, I just thought, well, how can we create a library of toolbox talks and messages that address today's topics and address them in like a social media style, one being that they're short and one being that they're just user generated, but they get to the point fast. So we started creating a whole raft of different messages. We've used AI to create some. Obviously, we can, speed things up now with AI presenters. But now we've also gone and got what we call our contributors. So we have a new program called Contributors, and these are industry speakers. You'd be great for this, Mick. These are industry speakers that have been tradies or have been on the floor in their specific niche, and now they've either gone into coaching or they just want to give back their learnings from their minimum 10 or 20 years experience. These guys are now contributing videos for our platform, and they're sitting there ready for companies to use. Now, these address mental health. You may have seen a few of the guys that we've posted about. They've been on your podcast. They address women working in the workspace and how we can get them into the workforce, but support them to stay there longer. And these are all small videos. These are all small, I guess, messages that companies needed to manufacture themselves and share out to their teams. Now we're doing it on behalf of everyone that joins Multiply Me. And that has just shortcutted this problem of people needing to be good on camera, learn what to say, be short and sharp, because we're taking care of, say, most of that now. But just quickly, for the ones who do want to make their videos, we still advocate for making your own company videos. And Mick, you said what equipment do you need? A mobile phone. Just a mobile phone. You can pick that up and say, hey guys, we're out on site today. We've noticed that a site fence was left open. That's not the way we roll here. When we leave, we lock them up, and just give the reason why you would do that. Maybe a small child comes onto the building site at night and falls off, and there's an incident. So the video can be made just like you're making a video on the weekend in the park.
Hey, I hope you're enjoying the podcast. We're always trying to bring you information that's going to make your life as a builder much easier. So give us a thumbs up and make sure you hit the subscribe button so you don't miss the next episode. Do you find that there is a difference in the effectiveness, if you like, or the watchability of a video if it is somebody that they do know versus an AI presenter? Because I know you can pretty much pick anyone you like these days to have an AI presenter and they sound good, the script's good, all of that sort of stuff. But is there any benefit doing your own versus having it all kind of AI generated?
So it's a good conversation. The AI generated avatars, I did a post on this the other day. A lot of people say, oh, they do funny hand movements or they sound funny.
Mm.
And my point was that in real life, everyone has a funny characteristic on their body. Like, people are lopsided, they say a particular word over and over. And we all have characteristics. So the thing that we tried was, if a company wants to use an AI presenter, is that they should select the AI presenter within the company. And I actually asked them, who do you want to be our AI presenter?
Mm.
And let's give him a name. We had one manufacturing company who they went to their staff and said, who should we name it? And I think they picked the name of a past employee that all used to make them laugh, for probably, funny reasons. I'm not sure what they were, but they said, oh, it's going to be Daryl.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, so it's going to be Daryl. So I think if you involve your team in the process, hey, we get an AI WHS assistant or whatever you're going to call them joining the team, they'll be responsible for delivering some of our toolbox talks. That can work because AI is coming. AI video creation is so good right now, but in 12 months' time, it'll be so much better. So there's that trade-off of just making sure that everyone knows it's an AI person. As long as the message is clear, it still gets the message across.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything better than having the directors or the leadership team of a business deliver the video.
Yeah.
But these are usually time-poor people that don't have the time to do 3-4 videos a week. So we need to use a hybrid model, half AI, half the business leaders.
Yeah, cool. Just accessing, like if a business ends up having all of these videos, what sort of platform does Multiply Me use, and I guess some form of search to be able to have people be able to find the right videos, access the videos? I'm assuming you can watch it on your phone or any device. What's the best way of setting all of that up? Because there's not much point having all of these videos if people can't find them, I guess, or it gets clunky.
Yeah, so if you think about the Multiply Me library as like a YouTube for your business, so you've just got all your videos. And if we just talk specifically about Toolbox Talks and maybe how we distribute those, that's probably easier because there's too many other setting up mini courses and onboarding and inductions. But if we just talk about the Toolbox Talks, they seem to be about the most powerful tool that people can use.
Yeah.
The best way to structure those is a little bit varied, but it's generally daily or a weekly deployment. If it's daily, it might be 1 or 2 videos of 30 to 60 seconds. So in under 2 minutes, your staff arrive at work, they jump on their phone, they check their training feed, a little bit like looking at a Facebook feed.
Mm-hmm.
And because we go back to that word comfortable again, we've tried to make Multiply Me a little bit mimic social media. So they jump on, they check their training feed, and they go, okay, I got 2 videos. They scroll through those, watch them, and sign off. So you're getting the compliance from a view on a video, which doesn't happen if your guys watch it on social media.
Yeah.
But then we've got some companies saying, hey, we just want to distribute 3 videos every Monday and then give our team the week to watch them so they can just watch them in their own time. So that frequency and scheduling changes a little bit. But what we do is, we just look at the needs of the business. They understand their staff and how that they would like to see the information. And then what we do is really do that for a quarter in a business. So Q1, Q2, Q3, and we'll check in at every quarter and say, hey, how was that frequency on the last quarter? Did all the videos get watched? Was it too much? Wasn't enough? And then we readjust the next quarter. And after 1 or 2 quarters, we find the magic mix and away we go. We've got a nice rhythm of communication going out to the team. Yeah,
excellent. So I'm a big fan of Dan Sullivan and one of the 100 books that he's going to write. I'm not sure, he's up to like 30 odd at the moment, but one of them was, always ask who, not how. I'm a big fan of that. And I'd be recommending, like, rather than trying to figure out how to do this all yourself, you find somebody like yourself to at least point you in the right direction. And if you've already got systems and processes and how to do this, it just saves so much time and money. So how do people do that? What's the best way to get in contact with you? What's the process that they can expect to experience once they reach out?
Yeah, so there's really two channels that we're taking people at the moment: trade, service, construction, manufacturing clients. All those industries are really seeing a lot of value in our Toolbox Talk, the shorter, sharper delivery of Toolbox Talks.
Yep.
Now, that is something that you can come in for a demo. If people like it, they can subscribe to our platform as a annual or monthly subscription. And we can pretty well get that up and running in a couple of days. So we load in all the pre-made videos, bring in their staff members, and then we hit schedule. And the system will take care of delivering those for as long as they would like it to happen. The other channel of people are coming from hospitality, cleaning, where there's high turnover, and they're more interested in creating in-house processes of, say, how to meet and greet a customer, how to lock up the restaurant, or how to set the table or something like that. So those particular customers, we do more of a deep dive into their business. We help them set up a training plan, and then we can even help them with sending videographers out and shooting their videos for them if that's what they would like.
Yeah.
So there's really two channels to get started there. But as you know, Mick, everything starts with a conversation. If someone feels like they need more time, they're repeating themselves, or maybe they've got those two things, turnover or high risk, and they want to just look at a new way of being able to mitigate those things and make it easier, you would just start with a conversation.
Yeah, perfect. Final question. We've talked about AI. It kind of happened like a tidal wave. Like people just found out about AI, and it all started, I think, with Chat GPT, and people didn't know what it was. Then they knew what it was, and then it just exploded, and everybody was using it probably within 12 months. And now we've talked about, obviously AI-generated scripts, and you can even get AI-generated voiceovers and video presenters and all of that. Where do you reckon it's going to go? Like what's the direction of this? What do you think might happen in the next sort of 3 to 5 years with this technology as far as video is concerned, etc.?
Huge question, but if you did help me there, you said as far as video is concerned, because the conversation is far too big. But look, I would say just as a high level, if you're not embracing AI as a whole, I think you're going to find it very difficult in 18 months to stay in business, because you'll be doing things really slowly. Now, we use it particularly for video creation, and if I can paint this picture for you, Mick, when I started Multiply Me, I pictured a tradie or a business owner. You sit in the afternoon, you're pretty buggered, and your shoulders come down, you go, oh, I'm heading home, right? So you know that feeling. And Multiply Me is almost a person sitting beside you in the passenger seat that says, "Hey, Luke, how was your day?" And you're like, the guys forgot their hard hats. They went out to site without a couple of key tools, so they had to make a return trip. And these are the things that wear on business owners and supervisors. So Multiply Me you could log into Multiply Me. These things are on your mind, and using AI, we can build out a script and build out a video that can be delivered as a Toolbox Talk tomorrow morning.
Wow.
Which would address the hard hats and, checking your tools before you go to work. Now, before AI, like that process, when the business owner is frustrated and he goes, "Oh, these are my problems," they stay in his head. He thinks about them on the way home and then clears them out at night and comes back to work the next day. So if you think about AI as not this thing that's coming to, invade us, which it may, because I do have concerns of this is an honest concern. I do have concerns of the Terminator being real. I actually think that will happen, Mick, because it's so powerful and it's already smarter and quicker and faster than us. China is now allowing droid or AI bots to race in a marathon shortly.
Wow!
And it was just announced the other day. They want to see how they compete against humans. And obviously, if we've got humans competing in marathons and they're faster than us. Well, is the Terminator possible? I think it is. But there's positives and negatives to everything. But the positive is that we can help like real problems that are happening in businesses by using AI to move the information around, and whether it's just creating a video or a script, that's a great thing. I think that's a positive. So where it's going, mate.
Who knows?
If I told you honestly where I think it's going, I think we'd all be very scared. But at the moment, we need to get involved in and somehow have it into our business.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, any new massive shift in culture has always created fear. There's always been benefits, and there's always been downsides to all sorts of shifts, even just the advent of the internet. There's amazing benefits, but there've also been some pretty horrible things that have happened with it as well. But we've just got to live with it. Thank you, mate, for being on the show. I'm so glad that business is going well. It's a great business. I highly recommend people reach out and have that initial conversation with you, because it just makes so much sense with what you've said today, that you can get stuff out of your head and fix problems. I know that we did a session with our black belt members some time ago in a in-person training day where we unpacked the cost of mistakes and not a particular mistake, but those little mistakes that you mentioned that happen over and over and over. And we calculated the cost of those mistakes to a business, just one mistake, and people had big lists of recurring mistakes, and the cost was massive, and the amount of extra business you would have to generate to pay back the cost of these mistakes was huge. So having someone like you in someone's corner to be able to unload those recurring mistakes and give us a solution to eliminate those recurring mistakes is so beneficial cost-wise. So you're doing great stuff, and it's great to catch up with you again.
Thanks, Mick. Appreciate it.
So that's it, folks, for this episode of the ToolShed Podcast. So the Multiply Me links will all be in the description. If you just jump up in the description, you can go to the website and you can jump on a conversation with Luke and just unpack how the Multiply Me program or process platform is going to be able to help you eliminate those mistakes. And when you can eliminate mistakes from your business, it is incredibly cost-effective, and obviously gets rid of a lot of emotional angst, and the mistakes are energy draining. So the sooner you can get rid of them, the better, which leads me to just remind you one more time about doing the scorecard, the builder's scorecard, because it only just takes 90 seconds. And shortly after then, you'll have your score, how well you're doing in these various areas of business, but you'll also have some suggestions that will help you identify what the number one roadblock is and what you can do about it. So it's very, very valuable for a 90-second investment, and it's free of charge also. So all you've got to lose is 90 seconds. The link's in the description. Go do the scorecard. Be interesting to see what your score will be for your business. So that's it for this episode of the ToolShed. We'll be back with another episode of the ToolShed Podcast. Before you know it, I'm Mick Hawes from Builders Business Black Belt. That is all. I am out. Bye for now.
You've been listening to the ToolShed. If this podcast struck a chord with you, make sure you spread the word by sharing it with your mates in the building industry. We love your help to make the building industry better for everyone involved.